Here and Now, the program featuring the news and interests of the African American community. Here's your host, Sandra Bookman.
Coming up, the so-called glass cliff. Are top executives of color doomed to fail even if they survive the Trump administration's ban on DEI? Also ahead, how the Knowledge House is fighting for tech equity and creating a pipeline for young digital leaders. The black female commercial airline pilot helping other women soar. The news anchor making the transition to the big screen in Tyler Perry's new thriller, Duplicity. And celebrating black classical musicians at the Gateways Music Festival. That's all ahead on Here and Now. President Trump's series of executive orders banning DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, is having a major effect on corporate America. And research shows that black executives, especially women, don't get the same support as their white counterparts. Their success considered breaking the glass ceiling, and that may be doomed by the so-called glass cliff. Here to tell us more is Diane Morales, founder and president of Still Rising, and Cynthia Renta, executive director of Girl Be Heard. So nice to meet both of you.
Thank you so much for having us.
Now, so I want you to first, because you've got your individual organizations, so Cynthia, why don't you tell us Girl Be Heard about that work?
Absolutely. So I'm Cynthia Renta, the executive director of Girl Be Heard, and we're an organization that focuses on serving girls and gender expansive young people through the arts, specifically through theater, storytelling, and socially conscious theater making.
Okay. And Diane, yes. Still Rising.
Yes. So Still Rising is an organizational management consulting firm that also has an expertise in supporting the pipeline of black and brown leaders in executive positions.
So the two of you, talk to me about this concept of the glass cliff. Because that cliff has been there for a while.
That's right.
I love you say that's right. So both of you at different points in your careers have experienced that sort of, you know, just hitting your head on the ceiling and then falling off the cliff because of a lack of support. Is that essentially what we're talking about?
That's exactly right. I spent decades as an executive in New York City in various social impact organizations, which is part of what compelled me to do the work that I'm doing right now, because I have firsthand experience of what it feels like to actually make it and then find yourself without having the supports and the resources that you need. And we saw during the sort of social justice movement after George Floyd's murder, we saw an increase in the number of black and brown leaders that were promoted into executive roles, but we did not see the proportionate increase in the supports that they needed to succeed in those roles. Yeah. And so that, you know, the phenomenon that's been called the glass cliff has sort of become that much more prominent in recent years. But you're right, it has existed for a really long time.
So Cynthia, what the two of you are trying to do is to call attention to this.
That's right.
And this is just not something somebody came up with in their head because they didn't, you know, make it as far or succeed or climb the ladder the way they thought this is a real issue.
That's right.
And the DEI ban that President Trump has essentially instituted through executive order, what is the impact of that kind of thing on the work that you two were trying to do?
Well, currently, tangibly, we have definitely lost federal funding for some of our programming. The work of Girl Be Heard has not only existed within the United States, but also beyond. We have had Caribbean programming in Trinidad and Tobago, and as part of the ban, the federal funding that was supporting that particular program has been currently impacted. And so what I'm seeing with my other colleagues in the field is also just news stories about mass defunding of very critical work. You know, just recently, colleagues within the social service sector that are providing very critical supports for young people. And so in terms of the work of Girl Be Heard, we are certainly leaning into the pipeline of mentorship. And the work of Girl Be Heard specifically has been about supporting and creating artivists, so artists that also are hybrid of sorts with their activist work, and creating a platform for them so that they can amplify their voices.
Yeah.
To your question, Diane's question at the beginning of the conversation, when I think about some of the challenges that the young people are experiencing right now, to be able to situate their challenges and their stories within the social justice context really allows for a level of self-compassion, self-awareness that really centers healing, self-empowerment within the context of the challenges that we're seeing across the nation and beyond.
So what, you've each got your individual programs, but I'm assuming the effort here really is to call attention to this issue, especially among, as you said, it hits women, tends to hit women of color harder, and sort of galvanize them to, one, acknowledge what's happening, but also figure out a way to support each other in the absence of the support you would anticipate getting?
Yeah.
Is that what I'm?
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, I think there's a sort of call to action for a variety of different stakeholders that would normally be involved in this work and in supporting leaders of color. Philanthropy, for example, is a perfect example of someone who could step up in a different kind of way than they have historically. Historically, one of the things that's true for philanthropy in supporting organizations like Cynthia's is that when a new leader comes in, they kind of pull back and say, well, let's wait and see how this leader does before we continue to make this investment. And there's a call right now for them to think differently about doing that. And rather than pulling back, lean in and provide support to that leader, particularly when it's a leader of color who we know is not as resourced as their white counterparts, and provide the funding, provide the ramp, if you will, the on-ramp for those leaders to become established and to be able to stabilize the work.
How open are people to taking the steps that you need to take to make sure that folks succeed? I mean, and we're not talking about trying to pull in people that don't have the skill set you're looking for. We are talking about people that really have worked hard and have achieved and are ready to move to the next level. And in order to do that, there's a certain kind of platform you need to be working from. You guys understand, and I'm sure women that are in the position understand, but is it easy? How easy or difficult is it to get other people to listen, understand, and do what needs to be done to do it right?
There's a ton of research that supports everything that you're saying, right? Both that Black and brown leaders that assume executive roles, particularly women, are very qualified, in many instances overqualified for the roles, and that they need the kinds of supports that we're talking about. I think one of the things that has to happen is we have to stop studying the problem, right? We've studied the problem. We know what the problem is, and we know what some of the needs are, because there are plenty of leaders that have spoken about it. I've just completed a research study with 45 executives, Black and brown executives in New York City, that have identified the things that they need. We know what they need. We just need to actually close the gap between the studying of the problem and the action that's necessary to help set these folks up to be successful.
Yeah. And Cynthia, you work with young people, and I know that younger people, they have a different take on the way we work today. How?
That's right.
Well, look, I'm not going because I know I'm older than both of you guys, but they see it differently. They want to do it different than parents, different from their teachers. So, how are they approaching that issue? One day they will be those leaders. And are you preparing them for their role in this?
Well, I'm excited to say that we did have some forethought. We didn't know how everything was sort of going to pan out with the elections and such. But we planned this year to focus our artistic work around leadership. And so the girls are actually deeply engaged in a process around reflecting on leadership. And I think to your point earlier, what we're seeing is a rise in new leadership praxis. And so there needs to be a widespread sort of opening to allow for the creative power of the new leadership practice that is emerging, that I'm seeing directly with my young people. I'd like to say I am part of that legacy as well, but I'm certainly hearing wonderful things from the young people. They have wonderful perspectives, and we need to allow for that creativity.
Yeah, and I want to send folks to both of your websites, girlbeheard.org, correct?
Yes.
And stillrising.nyc, and this is a call to action.
Yes.
There are leaders of color out there that need that help and that encouragement, and it behooves all of us to do our part in trying to make that happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If we strengthen them, we only strengthen all of us, because we're interconnected, and the better that they can do and serve our communities, the better we'll all do.
Thank you
That's
both
right. Thank you
for being
so
with us
much.
this afternoon.
Thank you so much for
It's a
having us.
pleasure. We'll be right back. You might call our next guest a living legend who soars to new heights whenever she reports to work. Carol Hobson is a United Airlines captain who flies a Boeing 737 out of Newark Airport. And with the aviation industry dealing with the shortage of pilots, Captain Hobson has made it her mission to help others reach new heights as well. She is the founder of the Jet Black Foundation and focused on sending 100 African American women to flight school by 2035. It is our pleasure to welcome Captain Carol Hobson. Wow. So nice to meet you. She's pretty good, right? Impressive.
Excellent summary. That's a lot of work.
That's a lot of work. You would know.
Pleasure to meet you. Thank you.
It's great to meet you. When did you get the bug to fly?
I love that question. I have wanted to fly an airplane for as long as I can remember being able to spot one in the sky. When I was a little girl, about 4 or so, I would go to my grandmother's home in South Jersey. It was along the path to the approach to Philadelphia Airport. Now, I didn't know that back then. But boy, oh boy, there'd be airplane after airplane after airplane. And I would just lie in the grass and watch them. And what I knew was that I wanted to be there. What I didn't know was how difficult or how challenging it was to get there.
And to that end, you have had several successful careers before you sort of made that leap into your dream, right?
That's right.
You were a journalist, so you could have been sitting here doing this, and based on what our conversations, you could have done it quite well. You were also an executive in multiple businesses.
Yep.
And then at the top of your game there, you sort of chucked all that and go, I'm gonna fly. Talk to me a little bit about how that transpired.
Whew. I mean, when do you walk away?
Yeah.
When you are, on top versus someone dragging you away. That's a good time to go. And what I had done was I learned how it was, or how one would become an airline pilot. And it seemed like an arduous path, and it seemed like one that I would save a lot of money in order to do. One of the best things to do is to do it and do it and do it versus do it a little bit, then come back to it. Do a little bit, do a little bit. Flying's a lot like playing an instrument, speaking a foreign language that's not your mother tongue, playing a sport, right? It's hard to learn how to play when you're not playing. And I knew that I had to save up enough money. That's what I would call an exit strategy. But essentially, one of the things I wanted to do was to make sure that I understood the steps.
And you which you did. And I love the fact that you basically expressed this dream you had to the man soon to be your husband. I don't know how you couldn't marry him after this. And he basically gifted you that first set of lessons, right?
Right. That's right.
And
That's
then,
right.
so that sort of triggered okay, we're going to do this.
That's right. That's right. So we went on a date. We had gone to college together, undergraduate. He'd gone off to graduate school. I had gone off to graduate school. Been a decade in between. We met in the subway. He said, how about lunch? I said, how about dinner? We chatted about friends and things and stuff we hadn't seen in a decade. And he said, geez, what do you want to do with yourself? Your background sounds amazing, but very eclectic. What do you want to do? And I said, you know, I've never been able to bring it to my lips and to actually say it because it seems ridiculous. And he said, well, try it. Try it. And I said, I just let it out. I want to fly an airplane. And I felt like just yelling it after I'd said it. And then the next date, he said, I cook, you clean. And underneath my placemat were gift certificates to a local airport.
Yeah, and you started that journey.
And I started that journey.
And how do you land finally at United?
No pun intended. I like
Yes.
that.
No pun intended.
So I went to flight school. I took about 5 or 6 years just to raise money and put it away. And then after that, I went to flight school like crazy. Did it every single day for 8 months. And in 8 months, I went from my first flight hour to certified flight instructor. And it seems a little backwards that we teach when we're very green, but you learn the most when you do that. And so I began teaching in July of 2001. August, September 11th.
Yeah.
And when that happened, at that point, we were married. My husband said, you know, how about some children? And I was like, woo, I don't know. And I was pregnant by September 17th. I had one baby, I had a second one. And the thing I feared the most, having children, I've loved the most in my life. And I stayed home with my children for 14 years. Yeah. And by the time they were in middle school, it was a now or never moment. And I went off to United Express, and I left there and went to United. And at 50, I went to United Express. 54, I went to United, made captain at 58. And I talk about those ages because I think it's important for women to not think, oh my goodness, it's over.
Yeah.
It's not over, not at all.
You know, I love you because you do tell your story so well, and you are aware of how important it is to tell that story.
Yes, ma'am.
And the impact that it might have on, even if it's just one other person.
That's right.
But you actually are working to make sure you have an impact on more than just one other person. Talk to me about your Jet Black Foundation and your goal for that organization, because it is impressive and meaningful.
And let me tell you how the name came about. My sister and I, my sister's an award-winning author. She's amazing. I like to say she's the deeper end of the gene pool. Her name is Lorene Carey. And as Lorene and I were eating lunch one day, she made me a delicious soup, and my head was down. And I love hair color. I've had red, I've had gold, I've had all kinds of blonde, I've had everything. And my sister said, girl, your hair sure is black.
Today.
And she said, Jet Black. And she said, that's it. That's the name, the Jet Black Foundation. And my goal is to send 100 black women to flight school. Why? Because if it was this hard for me to figure out how to go, let's make the path easier for younger women. Why black women? Because it's a talent pool that has never been tapped. And it's a terrific talent pool. I feel like we're built for this mission. Women, moms, girls, we learn and we don't necessarily get led to careers that have STEM, or as I like to call it, STEAM, science, technology, engineering, aviation, math, and medicine. Often we don't get dragged there. You asked me a really important question, like what in the world did I just do to, switch? And I often say, I would be sad, I would live with regret if I hadn't made that change.
If somebody asked you, a young woman that was thinking, well, or hadn't thought about it, and then all of a sudden it's presented to her, and I think, well, what does it take to become a pilot, a captain like you are? And maybe not just a young girl. There may be a woman that's 40 and saying, it's kind of in the back of my mind, but it's like, that is just a pipe dream. What does it take to do what you have done?
So I love that you use the term pipe dream, because so many people had said that to me along the way. And I think it takes a little bit of internal fortitude. And I love the sense that there's a big difference between confidence, that's what other people see, and self-assuredness. That's what you are built for. And when you say to yourself, I demand a change, How am I going to get there? How am I going to do it? And so literally in your little prayer closet, if you sit down and you say, I'm going to do something that I'm afraid to do because I might fail. And you ask yourself that question, what would I do if I knew I couldn't fail? And if that answer is, geez, I want to become a pilot, or I want to become a culinary artist, and I'm doing this, and I want to do that. First step is education. How do I get there? What do I have to do? What are the steps? How much money do I have to have in order to start and not be interrupted?
Is there a skill set that you think for folks that make an ideal
Absolutely.
pilot?
I love to hear when we're good at math and science. I love to hear that we're very determined. Like one is a hard skill, right? Math and science. And one is almost that self-assuredness. I believe that I can get here from there. And there's almost like a little bit of self-discovery that you have to have. So the hard skills, math and science, a little self-discovery, right, curious. And then the other one is that self-assuredness. So from the inside out versus other people looking at you, the externally driven, internal driven.
Now, one of the things that you do, and this is how you tell me I probably haven't flown on one of your flights, you
That's
like
right.
to go out
Every time.
and let people talk to them and see you. Why is that important to you? And how do they react? What's the reaction?
Okay, so here goes the real deal, right? I come out, the flight attendant's phone comes into first class, and the whole airplane can move out to the aisle and see me. And it's about 30, 35 seconds. I do an address. Good morning, everybody. Welcome aboard. Glad to have you on today. Here's our story. You picked a great day to fly. Nice and calm flight is what we're expecting, or it's going to be calm, bumpy in the middle, and calm on the way down. Thank you so much for joining us. And this is what happens. When I step out there and I pull the phone out, people put down their books, their earpods come out, their iBooks go down. And here's why. I think it's not often enough that we make a connect. I'm not just talking about flying, I'm talking about in life. And so there's this connection, and it's immediate. And I love that. And a friend of mine was sitting in first class and came up afterwards, and he said, I think that gets you in the mood.
Okay.
And it does.
But it's, I would think a lot of people, honestly, we know there are female pilots. There's still not a whole lot of them. And there's certainly not a whole lot of African-American female pilots.
Not at all. Let me give you some of the numbers. This is approximate. There are approximately 150,000 people who fly for a living. That number changes every day because people retire, people come in. It's a long ramp up to get us ready. And of that number, 2.5% are African-American, 2.5% are Asian, 2.5% are Latinx, roughly. Women, we're 7% in the industry. United has the most. United's amazing. We have African-American women. We are less than 1%.
And that's why what the Jet Black Foundation is trying to do is so important. And how are you going about trying to reach that goal of 100 African-American women in flight school by?
Excellent question. We're just getting started. So we have between now and the next decade to make that happen. So we're going to get an executive director, a programs person, and someone to help us get the work done. Okay. And we're going to recruit, and we'll get women into flight schools that are in colleges. So when they come out of college, they have all their certificates and their ratings. And the reason why this is so important, it's 100 years after Bessie Coleman flew. 100 and arguably 3 or 4 years.
Yeah. And you know what? You make me think, because I'm sitting here, I'm so fascinated by your career. You have written a novel that is basically historical fiction.
Yes, ma'am.
Based on Bessie Coleman's life. And tell folks who Bessie Coleman
So Bessie Coleman.
Or was, I should say.
That's right. I feel like is, because I feel like I'm with her, right? So Bessie Coleman flew she was born in 1892. Wright brothers flew in 1903. She's 11 years old when they make that first flight. And she flew not here in the United States, but over in France. And embedded in that sentence is the fact that she had to learn how to speak French in order to learn how to fly. her instructors were dogfighters from the First World War. And she learned these amazing death-defying stunts and had to bring them over to the United States in order to turn those into a show.
Your story is absolutely fascinating. The book, I want to tell people, A Pair of Wings, a novel, Carol Hobson. And I want to send folks to your website.
I would love that.
jetblackfoundation.org to find out more about what you're trying to do, get those 100 women flying.
Yes, ma'am.
And carolhobson.com if you want to know more about her fascinating story. What a pleasure to meet you.
What a pleasure
And
to
I am
meet.
going to look for you on my next United flight.
Please do. I'll be out front. Welcome aboard.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. What a pleasure.
And we'll be right back. Experts say by 2035, AI, artificial intelligence, will eliminate many jobs. We're talking about jobs like fast food cooks, cashiers, cab drivers. Now more than ever, bridging the digital divide for underserved communities is critical. The Knowledge House is fighting for tech equity, providing high-tech training for young people and hopefully creating a pipeline of future technologists and digital leaders. With us today is the co-founder and CEO of the Knowledge House, Geraldine Rodriguez-Williams, along with Davon Blanks, a graduate of their web development program. Thank you both for being with us this afternoon.
Thanks for having us.
So, Geraldine, why don't you start by talking to us about the mission of the Knowledge House?
Absolutely. So the mission of the Knowledge House is to empower and sustain a talent pipeline of digital leaders who will uplift their communities. So we provide technology education programs nationwide and prepare young people for tech jobs.
You started this in 2014. What inspired you? Like, I should mention that you had a brief stint in politics.
Yes.
And decided this is really where your talents are best
Absolutely.
used. So what was the inspiration behind starting the Knowledge House?
Yeah. Well, after college, I spent about 6 years working in politics, education, in schools, and I got frustrated with the fact that education leaders at the time were really focused on low-income kids going to college only. I was really interested in alternative pathways and especially tech careers because so many tech jobs don't require a bachelor's degree. And it just so happened that at the time, I met my co-founder. My co-founder is Joe Carano. He's our Chief Technology Officer at the Knowledge House. And I met him 10 years ago when he was teaching himself how to code. And I got to witness him go from a minimum wage job to 6 figures after he taught himself Python. And I said, wow, we need to replicate this experience, this life-changing experience for the young people in the Bronx to make sure that youth have opportunities just like Joe did.
Yeah, and Davon, I want to bring you into the conversation. This is one of those students.
Absolutely. We're so proud of Devon.
So when did you come to the Knowledge House?
So I came into the Knowledge House in the fall of 2023, and I applied to the web development track. And for me, like what motivated me to start with the Knowledge House is, for me, it was more of like getting involved with blockchain and cryptocurrency. And I recall I was doing a different digital program, and I came across a question that asked me what is API, and I was so confused about that. And then that's where I took a step back and decided that okay, it makes sense that I should go to the pathway towards web development. So from there, I was looking through other programs, and then the Knowledge House popped up because, for one, it was remote, which really aligned with my schedule. It was part-time. It was a 1-year program, and it provided incentives for me to really dive in deep in my studies. So it provided that financial cushion that allowed the stability for me, as well as continue on with my studies.
And the fact that, she said something important, I think, about not everybody is meant to go to college.
Right.
And in fact, there's been more of a focus on some of these programs that don't require in addition to tech.
Right.
But there are other career paths out there that don't necessarily require that. And I think there's a healthier respect for that. Four-year college is not necessarily the path for everyone. And were you thinking about that at the time that you found Knowledge House and found that you had this affinity? for web development?
First of all, I did graduate from college. I went to Bard College.
Okay, and I did read that.
And but even though after graduating college, I wanted to become a professor and go to graduate school. However, I decided to pivot to something else because I was trying to figure out what is it that I wanted to do outside of academia. And as far as how tech came about, even though video games was very prominent in my life, I didn't really consider technology as a career until when the pandemic hit, and then I came across Web3. So with that in mind, that's what prompted me to go towards that direction.
To get involved.
Yes, again.
And Geraldine, so who is the age range that your program is focused on, and how do folks generally come to the Knowledge House, these young people?
Yeah. So our target population are young people who are low income. So what's great about the Knowledge House—
When we say young people, what age are we talking about?
Yeah, so most of our students are 18 to early 30s, especially for our job training program. But what makes the Knowledge House so unique is that we do offer programs across the learning pathway because we want to provide digital empowerment to all people. So we also have a youth program that focuses on high school students to make sure that we are starting as early as possible with tech exposure. We have the Innovation Fellowship, which is the program that Zavon participated in. That's the workforce development program that offers web development training or cybersecurity or data science. And since the pandemic, we've even started to offer digital literacy programs to senior citizens, to families, just the general public, so that no one gets left behind, because everything is about tech right now. I found that during the pandemic, there were a lot of college enrolled students that wanted job training. Their colleges just were not preparing them for the future of work. And so we saw our target population change a little bit, where now we have students that are in college, out of college, have dropped out of college. They're just looking for a second chance to enter that tech career.
And is there cost?
Oh, the program is completely free. So as Yvonne mentioned, we actually incentivize students with a stipend to help them with their very basic living expenses. So our students get a few $100s a month as they persist through the program. And then that really helps folks stay retained.
Yeah. Devon, what would you say to somebody that's maybe hearing about the Knowledge House? They are trying to assess where they're going. What would you say to them about the program and what it's meant for you and your career?
Well, first off, it provided tremendous support throughout my experience. Because there are at times when young folks, or all folks that are pursuing a career within tech, there's that imposter syndrome. Like there is that concern that they won't be able to persist because there's so much to learn, so much to navigate. But the instructors, the career staff, and everyone else within TKH provides the support needed in order to continue on with the journey with becoming a software engineer, which is my interest, along with other tech career interests.
And when you say a web developer, for somebody that doesn't know exactly what that is, they're listening and thinking, what is that?
So web development is basically you're creating a web application. So when you go on the internet, type up google.com or any other website, the interface, the visuals that you see, that's something that which people like myself build and create. So it provides the functionalities, interactivity, and etc. But we go even beyond web development. We also create mobile applications and other forms of applications that require a digital interaction between a user and the product itself.
Yeah, and that is so important for young people to understand that they don't just have to be consumers of this technology. You can create it.
100%.
Yeah.
That's why we really started the Knowledge House, understanding that youth are digital natives, right? Like you have little kids on YouTube as soon as they're 1 year old. And so since folks are on social media, on YouTube, really creating content, why not create the products that we use every single day?
And that within you have the ability to do that. It's not so far beyond, your talent. If I send folks to theknowledgehouse.org, they can find out how they can take advantage of the program. And you said, I know you've got a headquarters in the South Bronx,
absolutely, yeah.
but you're offering this service in different cities, correct?
Yeah.
And how far spread are you?
Yeah. So right now we have our office headquartered in the South Bronx. Our programs serve all of New York City and Westchester, but also Newark, New Jersey, Atlanta, Georgia, Los Angeles, California, and the Washington, D.C., Baltimore area.
All right.
So we're really excited to be expanding nationally. And if folks go to our website, they can learn more about our programs, our volunteer programs, how to get involved. If you're not a student, you just want to support the organization. And right now, we have applications open for our high school program, our Kareem Carbouche Coding Fellowship program, which is co-founded by French Montana. So anyone who is a high school student, sophomore and up can apply right now, and that program starts in the summer.
All right. Thank you both for being with us this afternoon. It is important work, and I suspect a lot of people would like the opportunity to learn some of the things you're teaching there. Thank you both very much.
Sandra Bookman and Here and Now will be right back.
The Gateway Music Festival is coming to the Big Apple. It showcases and celebrates Black artistry in classical music. Now, at the heart of the festival is the Gateway's Festival Orchestra, and it is composed of Black professional classical musicians from around the country, some of the leading orchestras and music facilities. They're going to take center stage at Carnegie Hall. And here to tell us more is two-time Grammy Award-winning mezzo-soprano Janae Bridges. Very nice to meet you.
Thank you.
You're a big deal.
That's what they say. Thank you for having me.
That beautiful voice. So talk to us a little bit about why the Gateway Music Festival is a little bit different from other music festivals.
Yes, the Gateways Music Festival is, oh gosh, it's such a treasure. So I don't know when and where one can see a festival, an orchestra full of beautiful Black classical musicians, other than at one of the world's greatest stages, Carnegie Hall, other than the Gateways Music Festival. And not only does that make this particular festival so special, but I think that it brings in audiences of all different walks of life, which we don't typically see with classical music and musicians and classical institutions. So the Gateways Music Festival is very special in that it celebrates Black joy, Black achievement, Black artistry, and culture, culture as a whole.
And you know what? I think it's as you said, it's a big deal too, because I know that there are Black classical musicians.
Absolutely.
But they kind of spread around the country, obviously a big country, but to see them playing in one venue or to be able to see them several nights, and even as the artist themselves, you, one of the artists, how special is that for you to get a chance to, work with some of these folks that look like you? And I don't know that you run into that many just, every other day.
I didn't go to an HBCU, a historically Black college and university, but I like to liken it to a homecoming, an HBCU homecoming.
No, I
where
know exactly
it feels
what you mean.
like you're just amongst family and friends, and there's no barriers or armor that you have to put up. You're just being. And
everybody, you all know what each other's, a little bit what your journey likely has been about.
Absolutely.
And you're all sort of, you're sort of in love with the same and have respect for the same thing, this beautiful art form.
Exactly. And so with that, we don't have to worry about anything else but the music. And for me, it's especially inspiring because I know that I'm going to walk out of this festival feeling not only uplifted, but also like, this is how I'm going to walk in every room from now on.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a bit of a, just a kind of kickstart in a way.
No, I understand it.
So it's very exciting. And I know everyone is going to be inspired and uplifted from not only seeing the beautiful people on stage, but hearing this gorgeous music and wanting to know more about classical music and Black classical contributions.
And I think that's what is really the impetus behind this festival even getting started, and one of the things that makes it so important. So talk to me a little bit about who and what people can expect to experience.
Yes, so the festival kicks off in Rochester on April 21st, and I will contribute my voice to a world premiere by my dear friend and composer Damian Sneed. The piece is called Reflections of Resilience, 5 spirituals, and that piece is going to really take us on a journey from when Black Americans first arrived here on this soil until where we are now. So it's quite emotional. It's filled with joy, with sorrow, with reflection. And I'm really excited because, especially for that piece, because Damien and I have known each other for 20 years. He gave me my first professional opportunity where I sang at President Obama's 2008 inauguration.
Drop the mic.
Had to drop the mic a little bit.
I see.
So you will hear that. You will also hear Dvorak's Symphony No. 8 and William Levi Dawson's Negro Folk Symphony. And it is just going to be such a range of beautiful music, that's expressed by some of the world's best,
Best musicians in the world, in the country.
If I can say that, yeah.
So Friday, April 25th, there's a concert at Merkin Hall.
Yes.
That features the violinist, composer, and also a multiple Grammy nominee, Curtis Stewart. Then April 26th, the piano recital. Rochelle Sinnett is going to be there at the Harlem School of the Arts. And then, of course, there are master classes for students given by the Gateway Brass Collective.
Yes.
So we're talking about learning from the best. And of course, you on Carnegie Hall, and this is the Gateway Symphony, right?
The Gateways Festival Orchestra.
Thank you, sorry.
It's okay.
I am not a musician. And so you're going to be singing at Carnegie Hall.
I am on one of the greatest stages in the world, Stern Auditorium. I mean, that acoustic, I've sung in many, venues around the world, and I have to say, by far, the acoustic of Stern Auditorium is the best.
It is.
And
it is
so
special.
you can whisper, and you hear the overtones, and to collaborate with just
all
such fine artists is going to be very special, and it's going to be a collaborative experience as well. Not just it'll be special in that we invite the audience to contribute and collaborate, sing, dance, get up. Let the music
be a great
move
evening.
you.
And we have something special for viewers seeing this here. Here and Now viewers are going to receive a 25% discount to any ticketed event at this year's Gateways musical. That's Spring Festival.
Yes.
So I'm going to send folks to this website, gatewaysmusicfestival.org/here-and-now, and you can get that discount.
Very exciting.
Janae
I'm so excited.
Bridges, it is a pleasure to meet you. My intention is to be there on the 27th to hear
Wonderful.
that beautiful voice.
Oh,
I'm
thank
excited
you.
for the evening.
Oh,
It's
I can't
gonna
wait
be
to see
great.
you there.
And to be exposed to all of these fabulous musicians is going to be fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I appreciate you.
And we'll be right back. Tyler Perry's new movie, Duplicity. It's about a high-powered attorney uncovering the shooting of her best friend's boyfriend. It is a story any real-life news anchor might cover. So when our next guest got a call he never expected to get, it was his chance to take on a role that mirrors his professional experience. Take a look.
911, what's your emergency?
I need the police. Someone is breaking into my neighbor's house.
Police, put your hands up! Put your hands up! Guys!
We are getting reports of a shooting in the Ragdale community.
We have a field reporter on the way to the scene, but the Post is reporting, and we can't confirm this story, but according to their reporting, there has been another shooting of an unarmed black man.
The man was shot today by a rookie Chesterfield police officer. The shooting victim has been identified as 36-year-old Rodney Black.
Commercial right now. No, commercial.
We'll be right back after this commercial break.
It is our pleasure to welcome back actor and influencer Shannon Lanier. It is always nice to see you.
A pleasure, a pleasure.
Yeah, you are a very busy man.
Yeah, well, you can say that again. That's blessings.
A very talented man.
Thank you, thank you.
A very humble man. You have 3 kids, and that's why.
They keep me humble.
And I have to say that we've had you on before because you are Thomas Jefferson's 6th great-grandson.
Yeah.
And I love saying that. And you were a news anchor, but now you're acting.
Yeah.
Okay, you got to tell the story about how this came about.
I just finished doing the news, sitting at my desk. I got a phone call that says, Tyler Perry would like to speak with you. I'm like, what? What did I do? And then he said...
And you really believed it was Tyler Perry?
Oh, yeah, it happens all the time. No, I'm joking.
Okay.
When Oprah called, no.
Yeah.
So still, I had to pick myself off the floor because I'm like, I don't get those calls. Usually someone else handles that. But I got the call, and he says, well, I saw you on television, and you inspired a character in my new movie. So I want to know, would you like to play you, or should I hire someone to play you? I'm like, what? I was like, no, I'm there. I want the part. Let's do it. And it was an amazing experience. The best. It was a dream come true, really.
Had you thought about acting before?
Yeah, I've always wanted to, but I never thought I could because I've done like little parts here and there, but I had a whole family, you know, a wife and 3 kids. I need to support them. I can't follow my dreams and step out and try to be an actor. It's unheard of. But now, as an influencer and actor, I have other things that help supplement the income when we're waiting for that next acting gig. And so this was my chance with this movie, Duplicity, to kind of take that leap of faith and say, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to follow my dream at 45 years old, mind you.
Oh my God,
Change
you are
my career.
so old.
No, but still, you never think at 45 you'll be changing your career. And it was just one of those things that I was like, all right, God, I hear you. Let's do it.
You listened.
Yes.
And you loved the experience. And are we going to love this movie?
You're going to more than love this movie. Multiple people have said they've watched it several times. It was #1 on Amazon.
To see you?
Yeah, of course, that's it.
Just kidding.
To see this amazing cast, because you have Kat Graham in this, Tyler Lepley, Megan, Tandy, Nick from right here in Long Island, Nick Barada. I mean, this cast, Enrico Lee, is an outstanding cast with Tyler Perry writing, producing, directing. It's outstanding. It was #1 on Amazon Prime Video already. It's still in the top 10, so it's exciting to be a part of a project that is just so powerful and so meaningful for so many people that people think they know what happened when they watch this, but then they're like, oh, that's not what happened at all. It's one of those nail biters that has you on the edge of your seat.
And so did you went to Atlanta to shoot this part, or so you were there on the 1,000 Acres and a Mule?
Oh my gosh, I'm Tyler Perry
That's a
Studios.
Beautiful studio lot.
It's amazing. He has everything you need to film a movie there. You need a police station, a hospital, a grocery store, whatever you need, they have. Even the news studio was there. So it was just amazing to see what this man who used to be homeless has built and created, and how many people he's blessing with this studio that he has.
He is definitely a force to be reckoned with. So do you already have another project in the works?
We do. We're working on multiple different things between the acting and social media. Social media is one of the things I'm really pushing right now at Mr. Shannon Lanier, shameless plug. But my family and I, we do silly shenanigans with the kids, and you know.
The Laniers.
The Laniers, yeah. We call the kids the little Laniers.
Yeah.
So
they're they're getting a little bit too big for little Laniers, aren't they?
14, 12, and 9 now. So they are getting big. But we just have fun, and I also like to show that there are active, positive fathers involved in their kids' life in a positive way. So that's one of the things I try to make sure I display also.
And I understand you did something for April Fools?
Oh yeah, we always doing something. We got to trick them. I made them think that they didn't have school. And then I'm like, psych, April Fools. They were not happy. But
yeah, but you're the parent.
Yeah, exactly. I get have a little fun. My little jokes to them or pranks on them is my way to get back for their bad behavior sometime, which is not all the time.
You know what I love about you? Because no matter what you're talking about, whatever you're doing, there's just always this sort of buoyancy. You approach it with such a positive attitude, positive and focused attitude.
Sometimes too focused, but I believe we manifest things in our lives and we speak them into existence. So I feel like God hasn't brought me anything that he can't keep me in and bless me with. And so that's why I'm like, I'm going in this, I'm going in at full force with 10 toes down, as they say, and just, you know, hoping for the best, because I believe if I keep breathing life into these situations, that they will continue to be blessing me and be a blessing on those around me.
So tell me the truth. How often does your wife look at you and go, have you lost your mind?
Daily. Yeah, if people see her in my social media, she's always like, oh my God, here we go again. What is he up to now? But it's just all fun and games. We just have a good time.
So can you tell us about this next project, or you got to keep it?
I'm not allowed to say yet, but just be on the lookout. And I'm doing some other smaller things, like some little commercials here and there as well. So that's exciting to be dabbling in a little bit of everything. And then hopefully this summer I'll be taking it to the stage as well. Because I believe once AI takes over and they don't need actors anymore, you need that foundation as a live actor. So that's why I want to make sure I put theater in my portfolio.
And where are you going to be on stage?
Well, right now,
Can you
I
tell
don't
me?
think I can yet because but it's coming. But if you keep a lookout on my social media, I announce everything on social media to make sure people know what's happening.
So which one of the kids is likely going to be just like Dad? Putting their fingers and toes in everything, and I mean, are they willing participants in this, or you kind of drag them along?
No, they love it. They love it, especially because their friends love it. That's what they're like. My friends follow you. Oh my gosh, you embarrassing, and they love it. So I think Madison McKenzie would definitely probably be the one of the ones, because Carter, he's more like, whatever. He's like just there for the ride. But the girls, they really enjoy it.
So we're going to send people to MrShannonLanier.com. That's your website. At Mr. or at
Mr. Shannon Lanier. Also, everything is Mr. Shannon Lanier. So the @handles on Instagram and TikTok, almost 1 million followers, and then the website, and then the T-shirt line, all that stuff. We got it going.
We love you. We consider you family around here. We're so proud of you. And the movie Tyler Perry's Duplicity on Amazon Prime.
You got it.
All right. Shannon, so wonderful to see you. We absolutely cannot wait to see what you do next.
Me either.
All right. Thank you. All right. We're going to be right back. Thank you for joining us on Here and Now. If you missed any portion of today's show, you can watch at abc7ny.com/here and now, or listen to our podcast wherever you subscribe. If you'd like to comment or share your story, email us at hereandnow@wabc.com or follow us on Facebook and Instagram. I'm Sandra Bookman. Enjoy the rest of your day.